Welcome back to the IBSP. Here's your host, Boxing News.
Where is David Benavidez? And look, let's break it down. When you look at it, David Benavidez has gotten 2 extensions before he decides to enforce his mandatory with Canelo Alvarez. And the issue that I have with that is, why do you need to go to the WBC and put in extension after extension if you know that the Canelo Alvarez fight is the one that you want? If you know that's the fight that you need to have, you know that's the fight that you've been wanting so bad you can't sleep without it, you can't eat without it, you can't brush cheeks without it, then why would you go to the WBC and file all these extensions? Wouldn't it make more sense? It's just to simply enforce your mandatory. If you're filing anyway, just file to enforce your mandatory. That is the simplest way. Now, the deadline has passed, and at this point, everybody's wondering, where's David Benavidez? What is he doing? Did he file his mandatory? The WBC has gone quiet. Canelo's gone quiet. David Benavidez gone quiet. So my hope is that they've already made the Canelo Benavidez fight, because if they haven't and David simply has not enforced his mandatory, he's going to officially be garbage truck juice. You don't call out a man for all this time, get your opportunity, and refuse to enforce your mandatory. So it's my hope that Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez, these guys are making the fight behind the scenes and we simply don't know. That is my hope. But if that is not the case, David Benavidez better be enforcing his mandatory regardless of what Canelo does. You know, there's a theory out there that David Benavidez is simply waiting until Canelo picks an opponent and then says, hey, Canelo's ducking me and I'm going to go up and wait and fight these other guys. You can't use that. The reason why is because you had an opportunity to enforce your mandatory, and you deciding to go another way is not a duck. Simply as that. Now, if David Benavidez wants to prove to the world that Canelo is ducking, enforce your mandatory and make Canelo vacate. And, you know, Canelo Alvarez is not going to vacate. He wants to keep his undisputed status. Think about this. Canelo Alvarez could have vacated and threw his belt in the trash when William Skull came up and enforced his mandatory, but he didn't do that. He paid him step-aside money to keep him in the rotation because he does not want to lose that belt. So David Benavidez would be an absolute dummy, idiot, and a moron to vacate his, to walk away from this opportunity, to move up and wait and not enforce his mandatory. So the hope is that these guys are in some kind of negotiations. The hope is these guys are making a fight or making some kind of deals, because if they're not, and David is simply trying to wait out Canelo and not enforcing his mandatory, he's the biggest idiot there is in boxing. So let's see what happens. But David Benavidez, Canelo, and the WBC have all gone quiet on this issue. The only one clapping their cheeks and running their mouth is David Benavidez fanboys, and we're about to find out who's really about to smoke.